Hello everyone, welcome back on this Saturday morning, the morning after the transfer window has closed. Let's go through all of United's signings, incoming and outgoing, and let's see what we think about them all. As you can see, I've got a list up here about who's coming, total spend, and I'll get a list up of who's gone as well. And I just want to quickly talk about what I think of the window to start with, and generally how I think we've done. If you ever watched my videos before, you'll know that I am a fan of Ineos. After this window started, you cannot underestimate all of the changes they've made since the coming in January. They changed the entire board, the structure of the club. That was all before the window to get us ready for this window. And now people are saying this is a 7, 8, 9 of a window for us because we haven't had a window like this in a long time. My personal opinion on it is probably it's an 8 because I'm going to go through a couple of things that I do have a slight worry about, and you might already know them, but this is by far away and miles away the best window we have had in as long as I can remember. Loads of players in. When you look at the list, the full list of players out, including youth and everything, it's insane how many people we've got out this club. Most people before this transfer window and people going mad over us not getting players wanted the board changing and they wanted a lot of deadwood out. And you cannot say Ineos have not done that. The players we've got in are solid. I think we've paid fair prices for them. We've held out. We've not overpaid. And we've got good players. So we're going to get straight into it with Lenny Yoro on the list here. Let me just make it a bit bigger for you. I don't know if you can all see that or not, but there you go. Lenny Yoro, 62 million euros. Obviously, he's 18. He's one of the biggest centre-backs out there. Real Madrid wanted him. Everyone wanted him. We've ended up with him. People say we've paid him too much. I think 180k a week. The reality of it is 180k a week probably is too much for an 18-year-old, but when he's tipped to be one of the greatest centre-backs or the most up-and-coming centre-backs in the world, and we're struggling for centre-backs, I don't really have a problem with it. And I think looking at all of these transfers over them all, I don't think any of them have been paid over 200k. If we'd have got Agate last minute from PSG, if we'd have got De Ligt under the previous regime, both of them two players would be on 250k plus. I think it's quite clear that Man United are working with a 200k wage limit for incoming transfers. So I don't think, as far as I'm aware, any of these players that I know of have been paid any more than that. So Lenny Yoro, I'm perfectly happy with. No problem with him. Unfortunately, he got injured. There was rumours that obviously he had a couple of injury problems before we signed him, but he's got a broken toe, I think. He'll survive a broken toe and he will be back raring to go. Agate, if you've ever watched my videos before, you'll know my feelings on Agate. I think he's a good player. He probably is the kind of player we need at this very, very moment in time where our midfield's wide open and we need someone with energy and who can tackle. Do I think he's the right profile of player to take us where we actually want to go or was supposed to be going under Ten Hag? I'm not so sure. Because let's remember why we all wanted Ten Hag in the first place. We wanted to play an Ajax style of football. We wanted to play possession football, final third football. To me, Agate doesn't give you that. Agate keeps us as we are, system and play style wise, but he might be able to cover more ground than a Casemiro and a Mainu can. And we have got to hope that everyone going on about how good Ugarte is how good his YouTube clips are, that when he steps on that pitch, he can cover ground. Because what are we going to do if he won't play against Liverpool, but and Southampton's pretty much should be a gimme of a game. But after that, we've got Palace, Villa, Spurs. What happens when we get to Palace, Villa, Spurs, and our central midfield is still a basketball game, and Agate's running backwards and forwards like a madman? It won't be because of him, and it won't be because of Casemiro, and it won't be because of Mainu. It will be because of the way Eric Ten Hag sets his midfield up. And that is what I've got to say about Agate. If Agate comes in and makes our midfield rock solid, then that is unbelievable. An amazing signing, incredible. Ten Hag and the posse at the top of Man United have done something incredible. But until I see Agate playing a United shirt in our formation, the jury's out. And I don't think it's so much on Agate as a player, but we're all holding our hopes up that he's going to be the new Casemiro. He's going to be the new person who can sit there and destroy everything. But I'm afraid when you're getting broke on 3-4-on-1, it don't matter if you prime Kante, you're not stopping him. So the jury's out a bit on Agate. One, because will he work in our structure? And two, is he really the player we should be buying for our midfield future when Liverpool have got people like Chiesa, the guy from Brighton, his name's not coming to mind. They've got Alexis McAllister, Gravenberg. These type of players who are good on the ball. You've got City who are amazing on the ball. Arsenal's midfielders are great on the ball. And where we've got Bruno Fernandes, who's a headless chicken. We've got Mainu, who's great on the ball and seems to tire in games. And then now we're going to have Ugarte, who looks like he's just pure legs and tackling. There's no balance to that midfield still. So the Ugarte signing, not so much on Ugarte, but on the club to choose him as a profile of player. The jury is out on Ugarte for me. It's one we'll have to wait and see. 50 million euros. And it's the same for Matthias De Ligt. De Ligt, I like De Ligt. I always thought he was a decent player. But there's a lot of people out there saying, sitting on both sides of the fence. He's been to Juventus. He did all right. Juventus, Bayern Munich bought him for, I think, 70 million. People saying he's behind Eric Dyer at Munich. He's not played for Munich. And that is true. People saying about his injury record as well. His injury record is so-so. It's not as bad as people think, but it's also not great. It's hard to tell what he's going to be like from the couple of cameos he's had so far. We have conceded goals when he's on the pitch. Or a goal, should I say. You get the argument of the people who think he's never lived up to the hype, and then you've got the argument now he's a Man United player that he can play a high line, he's a leader, he's this, that, and the other. Until he proves to me that he's coming into this club and it works, I'm still on the fence with De Ligt as well, because again, in our team, people are begging for him to play a high line. How do you play a high line when your central midfield and forwards can't keep the ball? And I worry for De Ligt that he's going to be under pressure running back to his own goal all the time, and people say he's not that quick. We will find out. Is all I can say, because we could end up in another situation where we're playing Martinez and De Ligt trying to get out, and the ball's back over us all the time. They're running back to their own goal. And neither of them are slow, none of them are mega quick. We'll just have to see how it works with De Ligt. Long term, obviously, probably Yoro's going to play. So it'll be interesting when Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez are back, who he picks. Because I think Yoro's probably quicker, and obviously than both of them, and he's supposed to be one of the best up-and-coming centre-backs in the world, and he's probably quicker than them both. I think long-term, Ten Hag's centre-back partnership will probably be Yoro and Martinez. But I have no problem with De Ligt at this money. Like I say, last summer, under the well, not Woodward, Murto, Arnold era, we'd have paid probably 60, 65 million for De Ligt and give him 200, 300,000 pound a week. So 45 mil euros, which is less than 40 million quid, and under 200k a week. I think it's worth the risk for De Ligt. Xerxes, young lad, he's come in, he's done okay on this couple of games he's on. He's obviously scored a goal. He had the controversy about the Garnacho one coming off his knee. 35 mil, one. I think he's worth the risk. He was decent at Bologna. Will he be good enough for us long term? I don't know. I think personally, if we are wanting to play with our wingers the way we play with our wingers, where they're up high on the pitch and they get the ball and they shoot, Xerxes suits that more than Rasmus. Because he drops in, picks the ball up, holds it, and gives the wingers the ball. Rasmus is almost like a centre-forward winger where he wants to run in behind and use his pace and running power to get behind him. Xerxes is the complete opposite. He'll stand in front of a defender, pick it up, drop in midfield and find people. And when Højlund is back and when Xerxes is fit, I think Højlund's going to play. Obviously, we paid 70-odd million for Højlund. Xerxes has come out and said as well that he's not a prolific goal scorer himself. So I think we probably needed another striker as well. But Xerxes fits a different style of play. And are we going to move to one? Because if we're playing Ahmad, Mount, and I like Mount, I don't care what anyone says, he keeps the ball, he works hard, he might not have the flair and the messing about in the worldy passes that people like Bruno has, but he keeps the ball in the final third. And if we want to move up the pitch as a team and pen teams into their own areas and put them under pressure, you need players like Mount in your team. People don't understand that side of the game. They just want to see Bruno get the ball and try 30 worldy passes and eventually one comes off, but the other 29 times we're put under pressure from it. You need to understand the game better, how to keep the ball, how to recycle possession. Not every time you have the ball, do you have to go forward and attack and put the ball in the box or hit it long to somebody. You've got, like, look, go away and watch the other top teams, Arsenal, Liverpool, even like Spurs, even Chelsea do it now. Keep the ball. Real Madrid, Barcelona, City, they're all based on possession in the final third and keeping the ball. There's not this bang, 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 bang football. It just doesn't work. On to Mazwari. Can't complain about Mazwari at all. 15 million euros, like 12 million pounds. He looks like a decent player for that money. You could put him at fault for the second Brighton goal, vacating his position off the corner, but he's looked solid in his first two games. When Shaw's back, there's a question, will he start over Dalot? Because I think Shaw will go straight into left back, but I think he'll get plenty of game time because Shaw won't be fit. And Collier has obviously come up from the under-21s. He will obviously just be a bench player, backup player, might play a couple of Carabao Cups, looks good in pre-season, he's got plenty of potential. I don't really call him a arrival. He's come up from the under-21s, probably the same as Amas will eventually. So 214 million euros spent. Let's have a look at that in pounds. So that is 180 million we've spent this window on players coming in. And let's go to the outs now, because I know a lot of people, I'm not talking about, so I'm not going to take so long on this. We'll fire through these. Scott McTominay for 30 million. I think it's a decent deal. 30 mil for Scott. You can't argue it, really, can you? It's probably all the money he's worth. We've got what he's worth. Some people, I think, going further into this season will be asking why we sold Scott McTominay, because yes, he's not a starter. yes, sometimes he goes missing in games, but which one of our players don't go missing in games? He's versatile. He can go at the back to shore us up. You can stick him in midfield as an extra midfielder. You can put him up front if we need a goal. I do think, as a squad, we will miss McTominay's versatility. And everyone, it don't bother me, he knows the club, he works hard, this, that, the other, whatever. They all should be doing that. But McTominay is a versatile squad player who should have never been forced to be a starter for Man United. He should have always been a bench player. And if he was, I think nobody would be moaning about him. I think he's been forced to be disliked by the fan base because he's been forced to play, when the reality of it is he probably should have just been a squad player from the start. Greenwood, 26 million euros. I think it's all you're going to get for him, innit? I'm not going to learn about Greenwood. We've gone on about it loads of times. Just needed to get out of the club. He's out. Got some half-decent money for him. It's all he's worth. He had to go. He was never coming back. So that's fine with me. Wan-Bissaka, again, a player who a lot of people divide, a bit like McTominay, saying he's a great right-back, we should keep him for games and he can pocket any defender and all that lot, which, I mean, to some extent, I think is true. He's a decent one-on-one defender, but he's horrendous on the ball. Positionally, he's horrendous. And what do all the greatest defenders on the planet say? If you go, you should never need to go to ground. What's Wan-Bissaka's best trait? Last-ditch slide tackling, because he's never in position properly. So, yeah, Wan-Bissaka's gone. No problem with that. The only problem we are a bit short of fullbacks overall. Camberwala 10-0. Made a couple of appearances in the first team. Sold him for 10 mil when we were a bit short of centre backs. I mean, I think he's one of them that's been sacrificed as a homegrowner, isn't he? He's pure FFP profit, Camberwala. If we weren't struggling for FFP, I don't think we'd have sold him. At least I think Camberwala's English. I'm not 100% sure, but he might not be. But I think he's from the youth, isn't he, anyway? So whatever, it's free FFP. And I think we probably would have kept Camberwala around for a season or two to see if he develops. But with FFP, he's gone. Hannibal probably should have gone 2 or 3 years ago. He turns up in pre-season, has the odd game coming off the bench here and there, and he looks okay, I guess, puts himself about a bit, but that is it. He's never broken into the first team. He's been hanging around for years in the first team periphery now. No problem with selling Hannibal. Burnley, probably be a decent move for Hannibal. And then there's it's the left back, innit, Alvarez. I think that one, I mean, we're crying out for a left back and we've sold a young so-called decent left back to Benfica. I mean, I was thinking, why did we send him there last year? I mean, they've obviously must have seen something that he's not going to make it. But for me, I would have probably keeping Alvarez around. We need a left back desperately. But 6 million for a youth player again. It's how all the other teams get through FFP, innit? Getting these players in and around the first team and selling them for decent money. Same with Palestri, really. A lot of people like Palestri. I think Palestri's been good when he's started games. And when he's come on, he's obviously never broke into the first team. He was bought, was it the same year Ahmad was bought? And obviously Ahmad's the one who's now in the team. And Palestri is the one who's fell by the wayside. I mean, there's obviously something about him that Eric Ten Hag and that lot don't like. To me, he's looked all right when he comes on, but again, 20-minute cameos here and there. You can't judge players on that. They need to be in the team consistently to judge if they're good enough or not. 20 minutes, half-decent match every now and again isn't showing enough to say that you're good. Yeah, he's good for Uruguay. international football is so poor that you can't judge anyone on international football. Donny van der Beek, 500k for Van der Beek. It's madness, isn't it? After we bought him for 40 million under Solskjaer, never played, come to United. Ten Hag come in and everyone said, is this Van der Beek's time? He still didn't play him. He went to Everton, got injured, come back again, still didn't play. You've got to feel for Van der Beek a bit because United has ruined his career. He's gone to Girona in Italy for 500k. I mean, you'd think Van der Beek, you'd think he's got something about him, wouldn't you, to stay in the Premier League, but probably the wrong move. Well, not probably, it definitely was the wrong move for him coming to us, wasn't it? Absolute disaster for Van der Beek. Forson's gone to Monza. Bit of a strange one, that, on a free. Obviously, he started to play for the first team a bit at the end of last season, didn't he? And we were lacking strikers. He's obviously either not been given a new contract or Monza have offered him more, or he's been told he's not going to get in the first team anymore. So he's gone. It is what it is. Varane's gone. Got his wage off the books. I like Varane. Bit injury prone, but he's no more injury prone than any of our other centre backs. Got a huge wage off the bill. Can't say anything about Varane. He's one of the best defenders there's ever been. And Martial and Brandon Williams both released at last, the pair of them. Martial, good player, wrong attitude. Brandon Williams, why was he still at the club for so long? 103 million out. So, I mean, we've spent about 110 million in total. And there is some others, youth players as well, that have come in and out. There's Kone, Overy, that Obi Martin and Goretzka. So a couple of youths from Arsenal. So obviously these lads are all young, probably not going to be in the first team. Probably go in the under-21s. See if they make it. If not, we'll probably sell them on, like we have with a few others. And there's Tom Huddleston has retired. Unbelievable. Hugel's gone to Wigan Athletic on loan, so that should be a good loan for Hugel to see if he can do it in the Championship or League One, whatever Wigan are in, because I know a lot of people think he should have been playing for us last year when we didn't have a striker. So let's see if he can perform at Wigan. Vitek's gone out on loan as well. Played for us in pre-season. And yeah, that's just about it on the old window. What do I think about the window? I think it's probably a solid 8. And if Ugarte and De Ligt do turn out to be the players we think they are, you could even push it to a 9 with all those outgoings on that list as well, and with what they've done with the board and everything above. It could easily be a 9 out of 10 window. And you've got to remember, Liverpool have bought Chiesa, that's it. City, you've got Gundogan back, not really done anything. Arsenal haven't really done anything. Spurs have bought a couple, I think. So the teams around us haven't done a lot. Can Erik ten Hag and his posse turn these players into a proper team and get us into the top 4 at the very least? Because that has to be his target, the Champions League. So he's got 2 ways in. Win the Europa League, which we had the draw the other day. I think the only real problems in that league group that we got, that League of 8, Porto and Fenerbahce, but you'd still expect us to be beating them 2. We should be easily one of the favourites for the Europa League. I think so. It's going to be big for him to stay in the Europa League and try and win it. And top 4 is anyone's at the minute. I think you're probably going to have Arsenal and City in there for definite. And then I think there's probably us, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa, all fighting for the last 2 spots in the top 4. But Erik ten Hag has to make top 4 or else he's gone. I don't think Ineos will tolerate another season outside of the Champions League. So that is all we're going to talk about today. An 8 out of 10 window. Let's hope they can make it at least an 8 out of 10 on the pitch every week, because at the minute it's about 6 out of 10. And we will see you on the next video, probably after the Liverpool game this weekend. I was going to talk about that a little bit. Be a tough one. It's at home. It could go anyway, that game, I think. We could easily beat Liverpool. Get our hopes up about the season, then go away and draw against Southampton. You know what we're like. We're always good against the good teams, and we're poor against the poorer teams. So we could... I don't even know how to predict that game. I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say a draw for the Liverpool game, and we'll see how we go. But we could easily win. We could easily get hammered. If we get hammered versus Liverpool and lost 2 of the first 3, there's huge, huge pressure on Ten Hag. He's got to get a result against Liverpool, or at least a performance. If we get beat 2-3-0, there is going to be a meltdown on Ten Hag. But we'll discuss that after the fact. And for now, hit the favourite, like, sub, all that malarkey. Do me a favour, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.